too, right? Okay. No, stop it, YouTube. Help. Internet. Alright, all the lights that look like they're supposed to be lit up seem to be lit up, so I'm going to assume that's okay. And where was I yesterday when I stopped? Ayla, glad you're here in time today. I'm glad you're here too. That was the correct response, right? My social skills have not kicked into gear yet. Once again, I see OBS is not like actually registering the YouTube chat. I screwed around a little bit on Restream to hopefully get that set up after last time, and it appears that it did not. Oh well. Also, let me know how the volume is. Someone informed me yesterday that the volume was too low and that they were having a hard time hearing me. And I increased it. I don't know how much it is safe to do that without going between like inaudible and blowing people's ears out. We'll work that out. So I have that's not the right editor. I have these. Volume is alright. Alright, that's already off to a better start than yesterday then. And I kind of want to do away with this dialogue here and maybe put this selector thing on just the main UI, because that would be one less click. It would be the same amount of work, and there's really no reason not to. That's the important UI thing. Releasing it when I'm done, yes. Hopefully that will be done as soon as possible. I no longer need this. I'm hoping to not like need to spend more than probably another day or two on this, not counting like the annoying stuff like creating an itch.io page or whatever. This should create a radio array. No, it will not, because it's not actually added to the window. That will create a radio array. UI get radio. There we go. I can't speak for everyone, but the main thing I'm probably going to use this for is like mass converting 3D model files to vertex buffers. I believe I've fanboyed about how fast loading buffers is on stream before. I don't know if I have, but in any case, it's much faster than loading an OBJ file. But if anybody wants to like standardize themselves on like OBJ or GameMaker models or whatever, that will be an option. Okay. The radio array is there. I should probably All right, I'm just going to skip this. Skip this dialogue entirely. I completely lost my train of thought. Vertex buffers are awesome. That is a acceptable replacement for whatever I was going to say 2 seconds ago. All right, this is just this is what I wanted, I think. Actually, you know what? Since I don't actually need that extra script there, I don't think. Will that just work? Type would be okay. One, I can delete this file because it's just kind of sitting there. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, I can delete this file. Or rename it and turn it into something else because I'll be creating a new one anyway. I suck at naming scripts. I can't wait until I update this whole thing to 2.3 so I can just make them anonymous functions like I'd like to. The value change will be here. I was kind of in the middle of doing this, of working on this last time when I got interrupted by a phone call. I will talk in a minute once I finish typing this. How do I get a reference to this anyway? Is it... It's like the main object dot mesh ed. And just to make sure that's putting out the right value. It should be. I haven't been away from this code for that long. And this is flowing off the screen. I also want to move this button to somewhere else. Or make it like not a button or something. There's a couple things I might do with that. Anyway. Okay. Also, the tooltip is a little bit annoying there. But anyway, the value works. I might do something else with the tooltip. For radio arrays, because they have the potential to get in the way of what you're trying to see with the mouse. Which I don't think does anyone any favors. This would now be... This would now be that. I think, right? So I will, I guess to test this, let's go back in here. I can delete all that, really. And what are some of these other formats? I was talking with someone about, I don't know if he's here now. I was talking with someone about Collada recently, and FBX is a fairly popular format, but I don't really feel like dealing with it. GLB, that is one I am not familiar with. Is that that's probably a binary file, right? That is binary that is mostly JSON, or partially JSON. That looks like, is that like metadata? And STL. I've heard of STL. I've never dealt with it before. That's another binary format. Anyway, OBJ is what I'm here for. So if I were to export selected to here, would that turn all the things to... That turned some of the things to D through D. It didn't turn all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think there were 11 things selected, and it only actually saved 8 of them. STL is commonly used for 3D printing. That would make sense. I could see Kenny's assets being used for 3D printing. Why did it only save some of these? I said save everything here, not just save random... Which ones are not here? Oh, you know what? Some of these are in here more than once. There are duplicates in this list. That's probably why. By the way, this thing, I can get rid of this. That's not needed now. There's the matter of this. There's also the matter of the Vertex Formats. You know what? I'll do something fun first. I'll do something fun. And that fun thing can be in the form of... a fancy render surface. And we can draw whatever we want onto that. It feels like it always takes longer to build a program while I'm streaming. All right, so this is a surface that we can just draw whatever onto, and I always forget exactly what the code looks like. I have far too many scripts in here. and they're like, at some point they're just going to start getting lost on everything. I should organize this better. Who cares? Anyway, I'll just clone that and put it there. The control script, I can do the same thing. I need to actually see. Like that. Like that. And we can start doing stuff here. Okay. This is an empty, that's a blank canvas, as it were. This is probably not a blank canvas, but a... Oh, this is a mess. Alright, well, it's time to do a hello world of a 3D scene. I have a grid, right? Like just a grid vertex buffer. Some built-in formats, mesh preview grid. Stuff.graphics.mesh preview grid. Okay, how do we do this? Camera get active. View matrix. Let's make that the view matrix. We're gonna look at the origin from y equals 64 in the room. Perspective, projection, perspective, field of view. 60 degrees is good. Aspect ratio should be just... surface height over surface width. It has to be negative because GameMaker's weird. Z-near can be 1 and an arbitrary 1000. Camera apply. What was the mesh preview grid? Okay, that should just be a grid. On the floor. And after that, once that gets working, we can draw whatever the currently selected mesh looks like. And it's upside down. Well, it's drawing. Do I have to do negative field of view instead of negative aspect ratio? I can never remember. What's it doing elsewhere in the code? Negative both, apparently. Do I also have the 3D axes? Like those lines? And this is really supposed to be separate. In this preview, there are no axis lines. Okay, that's fine. Do I want them? Kind of. These are... I really wish I could just code fold. Okay, so axes. Or a similar deal. How do I want it to draw if there are more than one meshes selected? Should I just draw them all like stacked on top of each other, or what? That would get very, very slow if Alright, now there are axes. I can't move the camera though. Drawing them all would be very slow if there's like 100 of them selected. That sounds like a solvable problem though. What are the controls here? I don't really care about mouse picking. What I do care about is this. This is 3D mode, and this is looks like 2D mode. Alright, let's comment that out, and I'll go back to that as I need it. First, how exactly do you, point in rectangle, point in rectangle. And this will just make sure that... Hello, Ratchet. I did not accidentally launch this at 3 in the morning this time, or like 9 in the morning in your time. I'm figuring out how this internet thing works. Computers are hard. Okay, so this is not... Oh, you know what? Why am I saying return? That is code that looks like it should not be allowed, but it does. And it just doesn't do anything. Because no return value is expected. Functionless GMS2, yeah, I know. I have not updated this project here to 2.3 yet. That would be... Okay, good. It knows when the mouse is inside the window. That would be a lot of work, and I don't feel like dealing with the aggravation now. I'll probably wait for 2.3 to hit stable anyway, because this is a much grosser project than my main thing. The new internet fad is going to be all over in a couple of years. We'll see. I feel bad for whoever in like 1991 thought the internet was going to just blow over in a period of time. They'd probably hate to see what the world looks like now. Okay, anyway, if point is in the rectangle, we will control... I don't actually need any of that there. I will control the 3D thing. Control 3D look is a macro expression for the editor. and not really needed here. MSPD is... What is that? That is defined as this. No, I do not remember that, but that sounds like something that would have happened. Funnily enough, that sounds like something that someone on Reddit would try for whatever reason. Okay. Why is this? For reasons I do not understand, I used to like to say var equals var plus whatever instead of just plus equals or minus equals like a normal human being. I will address that starting about now. Also, that sounds very gross, putting a newspaper article in a blender and eating it. X, Y, and Z speed are local variables. And then this is done later. And I should probably, okay, fine. We can have an up-to vector also. I should probably define these variables inside the editor settings at some point. Don't need that. It is basically this. It was an old dude, so not a not a redditor. Field of view, pitch direction. Why is the default field of view 50 instead of like 60 or something sensible? I'm not quite sure why I understand that. Why I don't, you know what I mean. What am I working on? I am working on a thing to convert 3D model files from one format to another in bulk. Phone. Was that my phone? That sounded like my phone. I don't know if I've actually run the program since you joined stream. I've done a lot of messing with code and not much running the program. Field of view 80 or bust. Okay, settings object not found. Probably because I didn't define it. User settings. Oh, try catch will make this so much nicer. Like, all of this can be so much nicer. The thing you were supposed to be working on for like half a year. Oops. Is that part of your GameCube homebrew project. Okay, so one, it's putting the cursor in like the center of the window-ish. And two, it's not actually doing anything. Probably because that. You were doing that? Great minds think alike or something. Or maybe the inverse. Maybe terrible minds always converge on the same terrible ideas. I can't tell the difference anymore, to be honest. To actually center the cursor, I would need to do something more like x1 plus x2 minus x1 divided by 2, and the same on the y-axis. There's also some funny business with the cosine of the pitch when it comes to pitch, which I've forgotten to do until someone told me that I should do it recently, and I was like, that looks mathematically correct, let's start doing that. It's not a huge deal, but oh, is it not XYZ from? Is it just XYZ? Like that? Ooh, that looks great. Yeah, okay. I have forgotten about that. Also, mouse lock. I've forgotten about mouse lock. I'll have to deal with that in a minute. First, though, let's actually clear the background color. There's nothing like forgetting to clear the background color. And by that, I mean that's what I do like every single time I create a 3D projection. Much better. Okay, so a few fun things to address here. One is that I can indeed move around. Two, it's active even though there's something over it on the UI. I feel like this should only be running if the UI element is active. If the UI element is on a container that has focus. Maybe not though. What do the other ones do? Preferably something that has to do with 3D. This is very messy. Alright, what does the control 3D look macro do? Oh, that makes sense. Yes. Did I really misspell it? Has it really been CONTORL in the code this entire time? Your brain is in a fog. Welcome to my world. I think. Anyway, this should at least... It's going to be active even if the thing it's living on doesn't have focus. But... at least it shouldn't lock the mouse every time you move. Yeah, okay. That's not quite what I want. Oops. It's not quite what I wanted. I don't know if I care enough to deal with that right now, though. I have the ability to... Oh, you know what? I'm dumb. Point in rectangle and... This should be, that should disable input if it's not in focus, right? No. Oh, surface.root. I was gonna say, you don't think you'd be able to code even if you wanted to? Uh-oh. Are things okay there, Ratchet? This is gonna be very awkward for people watching the stream VOD, since I don't have chat on the stream anywhere currently. This is now disabled if this launcher window is here, and now it is active. Okay. I might want to add a reset camera button to the screen somewhere, but that's good enough for now. I will push this commit. That wasn't my last one, was it? There we go. Much more specific. Blood pressure somewhat near the ocean floor. Uh-oh. You eating okay there? And being healthy in general? I don't know anything about biology. Don't listen to me. The you mean the grid lines? Aloob, the grid lines in the preview? Your blood pressure is just weird overall. I have a feeling anything I could say about the matter would just make things even worse, so I think I should probably just not comment on that. The red, blue, and yellow, the axis lines. Okay. Because, among other things, GameMaker uses a super ancient version of GLSLES, you can't control the size of a line. They're always 1 pixel. But I could make them, instead of lines, like something actually with volume or something. My middle click is broken. So I just use control space instead as kind of a override. I could do something like... Instead of 1 line for axes, where is it? 2 or 4 or something like that. I could make them, what would this be, the x-axis? So I'd want it to be -1, -1, and -1, 1, and 1, -1, and 1, 1. Something like this will give it a little bit of volume. Did I accidentally run it twice? That's weird. The weather messes with your overall health. That's weird. My brain is trying to figure out like what that would entail, and my brain is failing. And this is why I'm not a biologist. Actually, that looks like that does definitely give it volume. Okay, I like that idea. Thank you. I might use that for everything. It's weirder. It's noticeably weirder when it comes to this, though. Or maybe I'll make a version with the big lines and without. In the animation editor. This is a separate thing with axes, since they extend to infinity in both directions instead of one. Since vertex buffers cost basically no computer memory, I guess I'll make a separate version for versions with a width and versions without. And set this back to 0. And over here, I will need to copy and paste more code. Wonderful. Okay. Negative, 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 positive, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, positive, positive. Same here. And that should do it for axis width. Do I want to do it for Draw Editor 3D? Also, I kind of do. I liked it in here also. Where are the axes? The axes should be in here somewhere. There we go. Let's see how this looks. Animation editor, sort of. It's what sequences are now. If sequences had been a thing when I started working on this, I would probably have just used those. You can like add keyframes, set a position. Let's say move it 100 units in the air. You can set an animation transition. How about linear? That was not the right dimension. Linear. And I've used it for things like combat animations in a turn-based battler, that sort of thing. If you want to be fancy. Other easing tweens, like accelerate, interact, or whatever. It does the job. It's not anything especially fancy. Anyway, as long as you don't get like really close to these axes, they look okay. Since they're 1 unit apart. That was a good idea. Thank you. I will most likely be keeping this implemented. What else was I doing? One, I was going to commit those changes. And two, There's the matter of how to draw stuff. What is the list of meshes? Mesh list, that's easy to remember. Oh, that's not gonna work, is it? I can never remember. UI list selected. Selected entries is the word. I went through this yesterday, did I? Didn't I? These are stored as a list of instances, right? Yeah, it'll add an instance, and the instance is going to just have a vertex buffer, right? Yeah. And a wireframe vertex buffer and a regular buffer containing the information when it gets saved to a file. Okay. Let's just vertex submit. We can deal with these submesh indices later. Dot vbuffer triangle list -1 for now. And then the wireframe buffer. That should do it, right? I can do that. I don't know if the shader is set. I might need to set the shader. I think if the axes draw properly, then everything else should as well. I think those ask for the same shader. Okay, so let's... That's not the folder of 3D objects. This is the folder of 3D objects. Let's drag some of those in here. And something is being drawn. It is very, very small. Okay, that's, yeah, true. Good point. Kenny's assets use a scale of like 1 unit equals 1 meter, while I use 32 equals 1 meter, or something of that nature. I can hardly even, yeah. Okay, good point. I'll want to add a function to scale those up or something. Should probably check OBS to see if it's still, if the stream is still doing okay once in a while, and it looks like it is. Now, if there's more than one, I don't know how I want to deal with that. I think earlier I posed the idea of just drawing them all, or drawing like the first 100 or something. I'll do that. If you have more than one selected, it'll draw a number of them, but it won't guarantee that they'll all be drawn. Also, I will do something proper with this later, but for now, just so that they're not minuscule. Add a scale slider. I should probably just comment this all out. In one of the other mesh preview things that I wrote, it does have something like that. But I want to be able to do more with them here. In addition to that, things like, come on. Let's drag some of those in. Like here, you can't even see this. That's the wrong dimension. You can scale it up in this preview, and it looks very funny because it's using a texture, and this thing does not have a texture. I want to make this more of a 3D model manager of sorts, though. So you could actually change the scale, change the up axis, because all of Kenny's things are use Y as the up axis, and I usually use Z, and you might want to use something else. Let's see. Now that I think about it, this might actually take a couple days instead of just being done today. I'll set the limit to like 50 things now that it'll attempt to draw. And there. That should draw a series of the first 50 or whatever. Imagine the confused reverse engineers looking through the data. No, Z, not Y. That's a terrible joke. I don't even know why I'm trying. Something is in an infinite loop. Where would an infinite loop be coming from in here? Index equals the first thing, index not equal to undefined, index equals the next thing. Nothing like a good old printout debugging, I guess. You mod Lego games and the axes are negative Z forward and Y up. Negative Z forward, so that would be like upside down. So the loop isn't here because it's not printing anything out. How peculiar. Oh, you know what? I think it's not a loop. It is the transform being set at a 64 times scale. Permanently. Is what it probably is. Negative Z forward and positive Y up. Whatever works for them, I guess. I don't know how they settled on a standard like that, though. Alright, here we have it. Alright, there's, things are being drawn again. Crisis averted, no infinite loop to be had. And they're definitely all on top of each other, and I don't know how useful that is. If you had like a somewhere in this list there are trees. Let's drop in a tree. That loaded in twice. They're all loading in twice. I just realized that. Okay. One, a limit of 50 is like ridiculous, so let's make that 10. Two, let's commit the changes. And three, let's see why they're being loaded in twice. It is the add button that hands the listener, right? Let's see if are they being added to the filter twice for some reason? No, that wouldn't be it. I don't think, anyway. Fall default cone dark, fall default cone dark. It's like it's going through the list twice. Is it doing it on 2 separate frames or something? That would be weird. They use Autodesk Maya. Maybe it's Maya's default settings. That just changes the questions to why their 3D modeling software would use that as their default settings. Is that like their current time shouldn't change between the same frame? That should just be the timestamp when the frame started, shouldn't it? It would be get timer that would change between frames. I don't know why. Oh god, no, wait, stop. Why is that plus plus? Okay. We will figure this out because this is very odd. No, it's all happening on the same frame. It's just being added to the list twice, I guess. Is it, I'm pretty sure the extension returning it from, returning the dropped files names did not do any of that twice. Fall. Unless for some reason it's trying to add the material file as well as the object file, but I don't think it would be because that's not in the filter. No, it's definitely in the list twice. At some point a while ago, where is it where the drop files are handled? They're in here. Because if the extension is returning the names twice, that'll be a bit of an... I am not reading that. A bit of an issue, because that'll mean I have to debug the extension. Can I replace, like, commas with a new line? No, that's a literal \n. Never mind. Do it myself then. Default material, default object, dark material. But not a dark object. For whatever reason. Cone object. Cone dark material, cone dark object. Cone fall material, cone fall object. Oh, I see. I'm okay. Well, it's not returning the names of the files twice, which is good. Because that would be a huge pain. But by the time it gets to here, it looks like it is. Or it's doing it twice or something. What are computers? Alright, I'll just keep that open on the side. I probably don't have to, Huh. It printed... Wait. Go back to that. It printed out the list twice. And it should only have printed it out once. So it's like, it's executing this twice. I think I know why that might be. And that might be... Create button. Render button is handling the drop files, and so is render button general. Right? No, render button general is not handling the files. Okay, back to the drawing board. Is there anything else it might be calling that does that? I don't believe... Well, I guess that's what the real debugger is for. I don't believe it's being called from anywhere else in here. Unless, like, I'm accidentally... Oh, I know. That would do it. Okay, it was attached to two objects. Okay, never mind. Crisis averted. Let's get rid of that breakpoint. That was annoying. Okay, moving on. No, wait. So now if I drag in some things, it'll only load them once each. Much better. Okay. Also, those are trees. Next order of business. I talked about the vertex formats, but maybe a more immediate concern would be the scaling. I'll just add a button that says rotate up axis or something. Text labels do not have an action to go with them. And this will be rotate up axis. Okay. This is simple enough. This is... This is just a matter of like switching the X and Z coordinates and Y coordinates. Rotate up axis. And much of this is not actually needed. Do I have a built-in if I were to go back to here somewhere on the main UI, that is the menu. Do I have a script that just rotates an entire mesh's up axis? That would be in like advanced or something. There should be a button to rotate the up axis of an individual mesh. Bounds, normals, flat, smooth, rotate up axis. No, it is kind of a mess, and okay, well, I can make it one. Game data? Is there, just mesh rotate up axis. All right, let's see. This should just do everything all in one shot. Did it actually unindent the entire line instead of just the lines that didn't have spaces on them? Oh no. Okay. Maybe they just were like that to begin with. And then I'll make a separate one for all. Okay. And okay. Now to apply that to the thing that I'm actually doing here. Mesh rotate all up axis. And that should take care of it for everything. All right, let's try this now. Just in case. That's something for the this is for the map editing part of this. It's not of concern to the model converter tool, but just so that things don't break elsewhere in the program. All right, so if I bring in a couple trees and rotate up, okay, excellent. And if I do it for multiple trees, it should also those are significantly different. It should do it for all of them. Excellent. Okay. That was not too bad. That works. I am happy that that works. There's also the matter of scale. GitHub. Also, oh, and I started thinking about this and came back to it and then went away from it again the last time I was doing this. Where's the graphics, map, terrain, mesh, render with textures? I will add a little checkbox here. Create checkbox. Use textures. Wait. And that'll be a checkbox underneath the render surface. And I will give it behavior once I know it's there. It should be there. I've added checkboxes to many UI elements by now, and I don't see why this would fail, but you never know. One thing at a time. Yeah, okay, that is a checkbox that doesn't do anything. No, wait. No, I did not want to clone that. I wanted to clone this. Use textures. And then when we render it, it's just going to be... There should be some other stuff going on with the textures that are used, but this will be fine for now. And the wireframes don't need to be drawn with the texture. Drawing them with one looks really dumb if something is not supposed to be textured, but for certain things, like if I were to turn this on, this would be like all checkered like that, which isn't really what you want, but for certain things, I like how the colors blended. Orange plus magenta equals red. That's how I learned addition. Like if I were to go into the projects that I've already got running, the textures would be actually used, since that's how they were intended to be mapped. Let's open up Quack. And let's look at like one of the, oh my god, one of those. Okay, that's very big. That is the far clipping plane. It's a little too far there. That is part of a plant. Wow. Quack. Indeed. All right, let's comment out the scale and get a better look at it. Quack. The camera gets weird every time it gets reset. Draw textures. That is not correctly textured. That's, for example, a puddle. Moth buddy. Treasure chest. There's the moon somewhere in here. The water objects are a little weirder. That's a tree. The moon, which uses a different texture. That's acceptable for now, though. I don't know how far into the actual model editing it's worth getting. I will do scale. I will do scale. There may be something to be said for adding a button to like scale the textures up or down, but I think that's something that only I'm gonna find useful, so I might not spend time on it now. Oh, I also need to do something with the actual buttons. but that'll be for another day. Scale, width, height. On value change will be done later. The value will be one. Help text will be validate double. I should really refactor that to validate float or something, because everything else are just called float and it's the same regular expression anyway. I'll do it plus or minus 100. Character limit would be like, what, 4? To accommodate those characters. I think I removed the value input coordinates from emu when I rewrote this whole thing for that, which is good because it's largely not something you would ever actually mess with. Have I only been streaming for an hour 20 minutes today? It feels like longer than yesterday, and it feels like I got more done than yesterday. Illegal access of argument not provided to script. That's because I didn't provide it to the script. After this is in place, I'll add an apply button or something. Nice. Okay. Good to know. That will crash the game if nothing is selected. I'll add an apply button so that the scale is applied to whatever meshes are selected. And also probably a rename button or something so that they're not, so that you can use names other than the file names or whatever. All right, so scale doesn't do anything yet. I call it draw scale because the variable is called draw scale. And when you're drawing that, what would it be? Mode.draw scale. It'll be a uniform scale, because I don't really think there's much of a point in having a separate scale for all 3 axes. And that would be hard to add, but it would be a little tedious, and I don't know if I feel like doing it. And also the other transform, the other pieces of the transform. I don't think it would be very useful to just translate the selection by an arbitrary amount. That's the wrong variable. Rotating maybe, but most likely not translation. Come on. How's the stream doing? Okay, by the looks of it. It looks like it's still running. That is a bit of paranoia that I'll never be able to shake, will I? Okay, so scaling works. And when I move the cursor over the surface, the input box does not lose focus. So when I WASD around in there, it ends up in the input box. I can fix that. But anyway, scaling works. I don't need that. Where's the control script? Point in rectangle and dialog is active. Activating the render surface will deactivate whatever else is activated currently. Okay. So now if I do that, the scale input is no longer active and I can WASD around in peace. Okay. That feels like something to commit. And now for applying that. Where's a button? I'll just copy and paste the button. That had a lot of button. I don't even know if it's worth spending the 30 seconds or whatever to run the game just to see if the button's there. It's not going to do anything. It was copied and pasted from a button that was already there. It's auto-spaced thanks to the y plus equals height thing. So it's not like it's going to end up in the wrong location. Yeah, the button's there. Nothing happens. Oops. I missed the close button. That's awkward. Set scale. That's not the right one. That's the right one. Is there a, is that something that I have in here already? I don't believe it is. Normals. Markers, which is just internal things that you can add to them. Rotate up, auto-calculate bounds. That's for grid-based collisions. Normals. Flat versus smooth normals. That might be worth implementing. Although I don't believe I currently have a shader that does smooth shading. So I would need to update my shaders if I wanted that to actually be visible. Texture scale is something for the game that I am working on that is not useful. Okay, so it looks like there is no no mesh scale. So I will make a script that does that, and it's going to look something like this. And it is going to do something very similar. To rotate up axis. The only difference being instead of swapping around, oh, I see what's going on. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I just said. Instead of swapping around the coordinates, it's just going to multiply them by some value. Like that. Because this can all be done in one line, and I don't really care enough to make it pretty. Times the scale. Yes, I have a number of those, or at least I did at some point. How many? Okay, there's just two. Right now, one of them was the script that I just duplicated, and one of them is just... This line looks like a disaster. Okay, I think I used to have more comments like that in here at some point. This is really just rebuilding the vertex buffers. Okay, this is the only math I had to do, I think. And then once that has been done to all the selected meshes, set the scale to 1 so that if you like double click the button, it won't do it twice or something annoying like that. Okay. I feel like the default direction that this thing starts with is like wrong, because when I hit the arrow keys when it first starts, it goes in some direction other than what I expect. So if I were to scale it up to like 64 or whatever and apply the scale, nothing happened. Oh, I see. This box needs to get reset. The text inside that box needs to get reset. Simple enough. UI input set value is the safe way of doing this. Does that automatically cast a string? It is not automatically cast a string. It probably should be. You like how the tree looks? Yes, I do too. They are, and someone only showed me these recently. Kenny.nl, some Dutch dude, has a whole collection of 3D models and other game assets, most of which are free. Some of them are not. And I quite like a lot of them. Modular road tiles, if you're into that sort of thing. This looks like a shipyard of some sort, or mostly, well, ships anyway. Medieval town units. I quite like them. They are simple, they are clear, they are not like... They're not textured, they're all vertex colored, so they go with... they go with all of his other things quite well. So there's not really a worry of styles clashing or anything. So if I were to like select like 3 of these, say, scale them up, is the depth buffer turned on? It looks like the depth buffer is not turned on. I should probably turn the depth buffer on. And if I were to apply the scale, so that's still minuscule. That is now a regular scale. Okay, That is what I wanted to do. So you can also now scale his things up from a default scale of 1 unit equals 1 meter to 32 units equals 1 meter or whatever. The depth buffer. This is drawing, right? This will lead to some annoying, like, Z fighting now. Won't it? I'm going to expect to see Z fighting here. Can I get around that with the Z function, the comparison function that it uses? I forget exactly how that works. I've messed with it once. It did not do what I thought it did. There may be a better way to use it though. Oh no, no Z fighting. That's nice. Normally you'd see the different trees like fighting with each other, and that would be annoying. No Z fighting. Okay. Rotate the up axis a little bit. Excellent. I've made like a gimbal thing. No, not a gimbal. An axis thing out of trees. Hooray! All right. What's the default one of these? All right, well, that's not something I want to be concerned with right now. Let's commit those changes. And do I have what else is on the GitHub project board? I don't think what I was just doing was actually in there. I'll add these as separate cards. Because that would make sense if I decide to add more of them later. Are there any other... I'll do a smooth versus flat shading, I guess. At some point, that'll be later when I write the flat shading shader. Okay, that's good for now. Something else I should do at some point eventually is these, 2, write some tooltips. Tooltips will be faster, so I think I'll do those first. Vertex Format, I am ignoring you because I'm going to handle you some other way. I usually write the tooltip right after the definition of the UI element. Loaded into the program sounds kind of weird. Export probably needs some explanation, right? This already has a tooltip. Text does not have tooltips. Backslash quotation mark is a thing. Scale. This does not get a tooltip, and the checkbox. On second thought, I might actually disable this for now. I want to do some other things with textures other than just having them be weird. Like, like it would be if you check that on with one of the and you do not get a tooltip because you are not interactive. Okay. Let's make that left and make it blue because it's a header so that it stands out a little bit. What else? Oh, that's not scribble enabled. There's a fly buzzing around my head. All things considered, that could be worse. That needs to be scribble enabled. I don't know why they're not by default. I should probably just make scribble the default text renderer for these text elements, because one, it's faster, and two, you can do more things with it. Oh, I also wanted to refactor the misspelled control macro. Alright, mesh editor. UI fixes. This has been sitting here for a while. I'm just gonna delete that one single line. Reload. I said reload, thank you. And that won't be sitting there annoying me anymore. I'll take care of that another day. Game Jam. You started working on a new game that was a bit easier to feel inspired by, since I was having trouble focusing on 3D project for longer than a few hours. It happens. If you have a game that you're excited to work on, it's definitely much easier than a game that you're not excited to work on. What kind of game is it? What was the thing that I misspelled that I want to unmisspell? Or that I want to spell correctly to avoid a double negative? This. That. Okay. That is no longer misspelled. How many places was that an issue in? Several. Alright, good job. Very important. I've got a lot of changes to push out to GitHub. I should probably do that once in a while. The other thing, is there any particular reason useScribble should ever be false in one of those UI elements? Because I can't think of any. I think I will just get rid of that. It's not that it's a great deal of, like, settings baggage. It's just that it's a setting that I don't think is ever going to be useful ever. Now that I do this, just watch, like, everything break somewhere. Oh, there was more down here. Too much scribble, said nobody ever. For example, all of these, like, of course that's going to use scribble. It's a demo for actual scribble in this particular section of the code. I think I left in the option because a long time ago someone said something to the effect of, what if a user doesn't want to use scribble? But since I made the since I rewrote the UI system in the form of emu for 2.3, that's not really a concern anymore anyway. I think that's the last of them. Okay, so scribble is now the only way that UI elements are rendered, or at least text elements. I think like lists and stuff might still use draw text. You found this project better because You're related to the story. Wanted to make something that would inspire others to make games as Undertale and Celeste did for you. It's an RPG, but not. Has elements of RPG like the style of story and an inventory system, but plan to have live combat rather than turn-based, and will be less combat focused than other things like puzzle. Okay. Let me just read that again to make sure I got it all. It's got a lot of moving parts. It's got lots of stuff to focus on if you ever don't feel like working on one specific thing one day, which could be good or bad depending on how you like to work. If you like to be very focused on one thing versus to do a variety of things. I like to do a variety of things, as you can probably tell. All of this now looks the same as it did before because, as it turns out, Scribble is pretty compatible with draw text. Okay. What remains to be done? Vertex Formats, right. That's the thing that I ended on last time, intended to do today, and then did none of today so far. Vertex Formats. So those are currently defined somewhere up here. Map, terrain, meshes. Those are currently defined up here. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, let's finish off. Add mesh. And I think I can cannibalize old code for that as well. In the form of import and delete. Which I should probably also rename to add and remove or something. I can just take this. This I don't need to do anything to. Add mesh I might need to do something with. You like to work on whatever you think of when you think of it. It works out so that you actually fit. I don't go quite that far. I like to finish what I'm doing first before moving on to something else, but like sometimes when I finish one task, if I've been doing like enemy AI for a week or something, I really want to not deal with that for a little while. I'd rather play with shaders or something exciting like that. There's a bit of a balance usually, but I do definitely find that it's easier to get sick of something when you've been working on it for like 4 weeks at a time without a break. If I were to remove those, that did not remove anything. Okay, so I cannot just yoink that in there because that's hard coded to do something else. Got it. So instead, let's let's do it manually then. And I am surprised it let me do that. Oh, this is okay. Now I have two scripts with almost the same name. All right, that'll help tell them apart a little. Everything is terrible. So I've got, let's see if I've actually got it all in one place. Somewhere I have a Trello board, which is just like full of, where is it? That's not it. Where on earth did I put it? Okay, here we go. I have a Trello board full of like individual game ideas that I want to do eventually. Most of them are never happening. This one is kind of happening right now on the side. Most of these probably are never happening. That's kind of my way of keeping myself from getting distracted by too many side projects. This one you'll finish. Have fun, certainly. It's a combination of all the other things you've worked on and learned and all that. That's a good way to look at it. As opposed to making one game that you'll never finish, you worked on one thing, you figured out what the best way to do things are, or how you prefer to do things anyway, and go from there. Where was I? Deleting things? Okay, so that's just a nice little instance activate, instance destroy. Which I can steal this code, right? And then from here, hang on. This doesn't remove itself from the list, does it? Ooh, that could be an issue. This is slightly spaghetti. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. So we'll count up all of the things that are to be deleted, and then delete them later. After they've all been like tabulated somewhere, just so that we're not removing from a list at the same time as iterating over it, because that's never a good idea, and that's a good way to make bad things happen. So let's drop in a number of these. There is a tent. Oh, I think I actually used this tent before, or at least one like it in the emu demo, the scene. I love how it's got a patch on it. I should probably add an option to turn the wireframe off, huh? I should add an option to turn the wireframe off. If I were to remove those will be gone. I should also deselect the list. Okay. Okay, so when you delete things, you'll deselect the list. Just to keep things from being weird. What else needs to be done? An option for wireframe. There was a bug if you click on the empty list, probably because it's trying to draw something that doesn't exist. So I need to fix that. That's probably a thing I need to change in the list code itself rather than in here. Also, toDelete has yet to be syntax highlighted as a local variable. None of them have. Oh, cool. Right. Sometimes local variable highlighting just breaks for no reason. So if I were to just select a random couple things in there. There is a tree growing out of that tent, a tent growing out of that tree, whatever. And okay, list deletion works. The next easy one to do would be the checkbox for wireframes. I'm going to rename this to draw textures. Draw textures. In here, draw textures. I'm also going to enable you to draw only the wireframe if you want. And I'm just going to copy this. It's going to do similar things. Copy it again. Look at stream to make sure it's still alive, which it is. That's 1. 2. Let's put textures down at the bottom, that checkbox. These should be interactive. And when we actually render all that, okay. That should be that feature in. Something I was quite surprised by when I made my first game demo, which I entered into a coding competition, is that the creator of Celeste went to your college, went to the college in your hometown. Oh, okay, small world. One of his professors was a judge at the competition when I learned that. Heh. Even smaller world. Let me see. If I were to scale that up, and if I were to uncheck draw fill, it would only draw the wireframe. If I were to uncheck draw the wireframe, it would only draw the fill. If I were to uncheck both, nothing would be drawn. Okay, that is working. That looks really weird. That looks some kind of like mutant cactus or something. And that's It's unlit. Oh, I should probably think about lighting also, but just to give it a little more character. I accidentally... So my screen layout is a little bit cramped due to having so many things open because live streams, and every time I click on my internet browser to scroll down and chat to see if anybody has said anything else, I accidentally hide OBS, and then I get very confused because my brain can only think of one thing at once. Okay. The add button. Yeah, the add button. This might be a little bit longer than remove. If I were to find wherever it is. Import that one. Does this need... Oh, actually, this isn't that long. There is this check for adjusting the texture coordinates, which I think I am not going to do in here. What happens when you drag something onto the list? Okay, it's quite simple. Yeah, adjust UVs is set to false. Okay, so I won't be able to cannibalize that directly, but I will just borrow all that. Adjust as false. To do, try catch. Oh, don't even remind me. Syntax highlighting is broken again. There's... I should probably not worry about Collada right now. Alright, that doesn't return into anything. Yeah, I'm just going to have import Collada return without doing anything because that is not quite working right and I don't feel like making it work. Today. Alright, let's see if add is not going to do anything. And the text. Oh, is that some unfortunate effect of using Scribble for everything? Is that the text color is set to white or something like that? I'll take care of that in a minute. Why is this not doing anything? Mesh editor add. Certainly. Oh, did I accidentally swap them? I accidentally swapped them. Huh. Okay. Let's not put the wrong code in the wrong button. So if I... Oh, true. Yeah. Trying to draw the wrong kind of, Trying to draw the wrong kind of mesh will crash it. It loaded it, though. For purposes of safety... I'll just comment all these out for now. SMF is Sundar Larsen's model format. VRAX and QMA are basically buffers of multiple models that I sometimes use, but those won't be relevant to most people. DIE is Collada. And if importing an SMF model will make the whole thing crash, I just won't do that. Actually, you know what? Maybe I won't. I'll leave those in. And if a mesh is of type SMF, I'll just draw it like that instead of normal way. It already won't save if you ask it to, I think. All right, that's that. If you will not get a wireframe out of SMF, but SMF model draw. Doesn't it need to set its shader? Anyway. Sample index is fun, but I will deal with that later. Also, come to think of it, okay, so that draws, but if I attempt to apply the scale, it's gonna explode violently. So I will not. I need to make some changes before that's allowed. I don't know why I use a switch statement here instead of just if else. I don't exactly know if I'm planning on adding other mesh types. Oh, come on. Alright, is this starting to be a sign that I should probably give it a rest for today? It is 5 p.m. local time. I meant to click add mesh. So if I were to bring in a low poly tree or whatever, or maybe if I were to bring in some of the other demos, bunny, sphere, outline. That's a little big. SMF is cool. The actual outline is not quite behaving now. Sphere map. There. No outline to have issues with there. If you've never seen SMF before, you should go look it up. It's fascinating. What's in demo 3? Dragon.smf. That guy. Shrink the scale a little bit. So this thing has animation data. It is not currently playing. If I were to save this, it would just not work, right? Yeah. Let's see what, if anything, saved into... Yeah, it didn't save anything. Alright. Also, I suppose for what it's worth, in export selected, if you only have SMF models selected, there's something else that I don't want to save. Then you just won't save. You won't bring up the file selector. Or maybe it'll show a message saying that you need to select a valid model type or something. I don't know. I can add like multiples of the same. It won't care. All right. That's now redundant. Because if the map is empty, then it'll be 0. The count will be 0 anyway. Nothing happened. Actually, yeah, nothing happened. Nothing happened again. If I keep doing that. Okay, that's better. I like that more than the code I had before. What else was there? There was the matter of the list. Which, as I have mentioned, I suspect the issue with selection is done in here. If you really should not be able to interact with this list at all if it's empty. What is it? Entries, list.entries is a list of the things. Hopefully, that's all I needed to change to get rid of that crash. All right, so it's no longer crashing. Let's see if the rest of this program is fine. All right, so I can still select things. I can still do stuff. Text is certain pieces of text are definitely not being drawn. With Scribble. If I were to go into like, yeah, none of the headings are being drawn. I think the Scribble default color is white or something. All right. Where is the Scribble default color? Scribble set starting format. What does that default to? All right, so it does default to white. Where is it initialized then? Here, okay. That should set the starting color pretty much permanently. Does the preview tool take that into account? Oh, I see a problem. Another problem is that the alignment. The starting alignment should be oh no, it should be box align. What was it before? Text.alignment, text.v alignment. And then this may screw things up later, so I'll just reset the state. Like that. And that. And now the box line should be taken into account. Right? You look like you're located properly. You look like you're located properly. All these guys are still located properly. All those. Okay. And then if I go to here. That needs to be changed. Also, the text bounds needs to be changed. Okay, so we're going on a bit of a tangent here. The render surface is where everything is actually drawn. As with the mesh preview. And the default color. I don't really want this to turn into a Scribble update video, because that is not one of the more useful things that I could do, but where is base color actually used? Where is this actually used in that case? What? I do not understand. Oh, the arguments have changed here. That might do it. All right, first, let's take care of first things first. That works now. And hopefully after I change that line, the wrap will work as well. I guess when I updated Scribble, I put the new arguments in the wrong order or something. If I had to guess, this looked all fragmented because of also when I updated Scribble last. And things got weird. Alright, now it is wrapping. Background color isn't actually related to the isn't actually related to Scribble settings, but very nice. I should probably update the tool on itch at some point too. That was an adventure. What else is left to do? The buttons work, everything has tooltips, the scale works. The vertex buffer settings is the last major thing that I said, isn't it? That was the last, like, I've squashed a couple bugs. I've added a few settings. I'll just add another checkbox here for lighting also, even though that's not implemented yet. And likewise, it will not be interactive. It'll also be next to the other options. I don't think I really want to add like lighting settings for the preview or anything, because that sounds like a lot of work for something that's not very useful. I just want lighting to be able to show a little bit of was I not able to? I just want lighting to show a little bit of like depth in the scene. Okay, the button's there. Something about the size of that render surface bothers me. I make it like 4x3 or something. That will make it at least fill up, expand to the width of the window. Although it won't keep doing that if you resize it. Most things won't in this program. I don't know if that's something I want to dedicate energy to fixing though. Alright, so something is very wrong here. Ooh, wow. Wow. I'm pretty sure that's no? Huh. That should just be the width and the height. Does it think it's the wrong size for some reason? I really do not know why it would. Okay, screw that then. Okay. So I didn't actually... Hang on, you know what? I'll also throw... rotation on there. Is that looking like straight down inside this thing? Is that why they were all... why they were all off at funny angles? Anyway. Also, a transform button would be nice. A reset button. How quickly do I think I could get those in? Probably pretty quickly, actually. I'll have a button for resetting the transform. And all it's going to do is set a bunch of things to 1. without actually changing anything. And then I'll just add rotations around the axis, because that should just be another couple values that I need to make variables for, essentially. Oh, I did not commit the last change, huh? Reset works. Quaternions would be nice, except I don't like quaternions. That's going to be rotation X, which can be between, let's say, negative 360 and positive 360. Y and Z. And these need functions. And these need to actually do what I want them to. That's the... I copied out of the wrong thing. What did I want to copy out of? This. That's X, right? Yeah, that's X. This is Y. And this is Z. Okay, everything good? Probably. Just needs to be drawn now. Draw rotation X, draw rotation Y, and Z. Okay. Chat has been quiet for a bit, so I don't know if I'm at the point where people are kind of leaving. YouTube still says there are a few people here. Twitch says nothing. I'm just going to see this working, and then I'm probably going to call it. Next time I'll actually do the vertex buffer things. The vertex format things, I should say. I also need to find out why the camera's being weird. Let's rotate the up axis for all of these things. Actually, let's just pick one model and go with it. Rotation around X, around Y. You are playing piano while watching, making new songs for your game. Okay, so in addition to working on programming different things, you also have a varied interest in like disciplines in game dev as a whole, so programming, music. Do you do art also? Are you like the oh, reset does not work because I need to... Oh, that's weird. Oh, I didn't apply reset to X yet. Do you like do all three of the major things, music, art, and code? Or would that be a little bit much for one guy. I wish I could do music. For some reason, that's interesting. For some reason, as I hold the middle mouse button down, it continues to creep upwards. You've attempted art, but it's not really your thing. That's fine. If you can do 2 of the major jobs, that's already plenty. I need to apply the reset button to these things. Also, is it just me, or did the reset button actually not set the value inside the scale thing? Was I imagining things? Oh, probably. Oh, it was because they were not named properly. Okay, that should do it, right? No art. Oh yeah, writing is another major job. I guess also if you really want to break it down, things like level design and just general gameplay design. Tree cone. Okay, I'll rotate you around the up axis, and then, like, if I give you a 45-degree rotation and, like, a 100-degree rotation over there, that looks odd. That's a fallen tree. And then reset. The values inside those will still not be fixed. Oh, that's because copying and pasting code is fun. Depending on a game, if it has a story, there are 4 major jobs. Yeah. Or if you really want to break it down, then things like 2D art and 3D art really don't have too much in common, so you could subdivide those as well. So whatever I just said probably isn't the most useful thing ever, but being able to do more than one at any rate must be nice to have. Story and level design. Depending on the game, yeah. They could be similar or not. I'm just going to rotate those all by a random amount. And now resetting the transform works. Okay. Like I said, I will not have a apply rotation button because I don't think that's useful, but that's good enough for now. Alright, I think I'm about done. Those were admittedly faster than I really thought at first. Thank you to everybody who joined stream today. I will I've been saying this for like a year now, but I want to stream game dev things more often. Next time I'll probably finish up this, and then depending on how much time there is, I might just like stream creating the itch.io page or something like that, or recording a preview or whatever. That should be different at least. Thank you all for coming. I don't know if I'll continue streaming via Twitch because there's been like 1.5 people there the entire time on average, which doesn't seem worth the bandwidth, but we'll see. Maybe I just haven't figured out how to use Twitch yet. Maybe there are better like tags I could use for the stream or something like that, or I don't know. Let's see. How do I end stream?